Hey!
Boom.
Boom.
Love it.
Let's do it. Let's drill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready? You got some
Yeah.
speed breakers? You
I need to pull up speed breakers.
Changed them up on me.
I did. We'll see if they're any good. Last time was kind of a bust. But Landon, Papay, welcome to the Insurance Dudes. It's so awesome to have you on. And this is going to be another fun episode here at the Elite Dudes meeting. As part of the Teledudes, you're in here. And just for everybody on here, if you don't know, there is a daily call also at this same time. So you're able to jump on, and Landon and Josh are on there basically every day. Miguel's going to be on there as well. And potentially some others. So, and Brandon, of course. Thank you, Brandon. So are you ready for speed breakers, Mr. Papay?
Dude,
Let's do it.
What about the boom, dude? I mean, did we start yet?
Yeah, I think we started. Let's just. Do we need to have?
It's a gray start. Okay.
Yeah, why not? Just we always it comes in pretty hot with the boom, and the levels get all off. So let's see how this goes.
Oh,
are you ready?
Professionalism at this point.
Well,
is that what you're going for today?
Let's pull it off one time. Here we go. Have you ever had a mullet?
I have not.
Tastes great or less filling?
Tastes great.
Most embarrassing thing your mom ever caught you doing? Could not get rid of that one.
Pass.
All right. Ever jumped out of a plane?
No.
Best dinosaur?
T-Rex.
Yes, correct. How many kids?
Have I made cry?
Yes. How many
Way
kids have
too,
you made cry?
more than I could count.
Okay. Count Chocula or Count Dracula?
Dracula.
What year did Marty go back in time to?
Was it 83? Or which time? So he
Well,
went back
I
in
think it
time.
was in 83. It was where he
Yeah.
was.
Oh,
It's 85.
85.
85.
Correct. Yes.
There you go.
No, but where did he go back in time to?
1800 somewhere.
No, that's the
Well, he did
number 3.
in the third.
Yeah, in the
third one.
Okay. Well, the bonus question is, what song was playing at the Enchantment Under the Sea when George and Lorraine first kissed?
I have no idea.
And
No
now I
clue.
just forgot. I knew it. But
Johnny,
somebody
be
will have
good.
No, that's what
That's
he
why
played
when they were
when
kissing.
he's gonna do something that really cooks, but it was Earth Angel. Earth
That is
Angel.
Earth Angel.
Earth Angel. Yes.
Depressing song.
What kind of car was Kit?
Trans Am.
Yeah.
Correct. And follow up to that, what country is Hasselhoff really big in?
Germany.
That's right. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Correct. Tacos or burritos?
Depends on what type of taco, but I'd probably go to burrito.
Okay. And what does ALF stand for?
Alien life form.
That's correct. What was the final villain in Ghostbusters?
Oh, the Marshmallow Man.
Yes, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And finally, Trump or Biden?
Excuse me.
Okay. He chooses not to answer. Jason.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
So growing up in Charleston, South Carolina, I got to say Hootie and the Blowfish. It was 96 Way Fest. And he performed out there. So it was
Hootie and I thought there's no Hootie.
Yeah. Or it's so Darius Rucker's off on his own, but it was Hootie then. So
That's right.
There you go. That's our
Yeah.
first Hootie and the Blowfish.
That
That's
is
it.
our first Hootie. Now, here's
Yeah.
the weird thing. What is Hootie and the Blowfish? Because he wasn't Hootie, even though everybody thought he
Hootie,
was.
Hootie. What
Well,
you said,
that was
Mr.
Darius
Jason.
Rucker. So
Darius Rucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked his second coming in the country space. That was nice.
yes, he's done a great job.
Interesting.
So Landon,
Yeah.
all the way back from Hootie to now, what got you in this crazy business of the insurance?
So in 2002, just made the decision to start working for PepsiCo. I went to college, decided I went for criminal justice and decided, being a police officer and getting paid $35,000 a year, and back in 2004, 2005 timeframe, which is what they're still being paid now, which is high crime. It wasn't worth it. So I decided to go work for PepsiCo and work for them for almost 17 years. And I found out that I was really good at managing an organization, and they did a great job training me, learning how to lead people and hit sales goals. And it's goals. It's once you hit it, it's okay, what's next? You got to hit the next one and continue on. And I made the company a lot of money, and finally got to the point where I was like, wait, these yearly raises aren't equating to what I'm making them, what the additional money I'm bringing into the company, and started deciding to look other places. And my wife and I talked about doing a franchise and open a restaurant. And then I realized that, well, you're gonna have to staff it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all these different things. And then 7 days a week. And then we looked at a dog kennel and went, whoa, that's 24 hours a day. And insurance kind of fell in my lap. I had set myself up for open to recruiters on a platform, and I got an email from a carrier and said, hey, are you interested in this? And I went, no, not at all. And I was sitting at church before church started. I was praying and asking for a sign to help provide for my family and do the right thing. And all of a sudden I went, well, maybe an email is a sign. So started the process with that carrier, got all the way to a week before the interview. And I went, you know what? I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. And I started looking around and kind of found the best option for me, getting into insurance for the first time. And I knew that I was really good talking to people. I was really good relationship builder, and it was kind of natural for me. So I worked my way up, learned the system, and kind of where I'm at now. And I'm really in a growth mode. I mean, I want to be the best, and I want my team to be the best. And we're just trying to do everything we can to exceed.
When did you first open?
December of 2018, I opened Scratch. So the very first policy I wrote was my own. So,
wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
One thing we sold.
How was that going, not knowing anything about the insurance business pretty much, and then opening Scratch?
So the whole process took about 8 or 9 months between going from one carrier to another carrier and looking into what I wanted to do. But I made good money at Pepsi. I was, making 6 figures, and it was, I knew every 2 weeks I had a check coming, whether or not we hit plan or not. I knew that was going to happen. And I got to the point where it was terrifying. So I started saving as much money as I could to make sure that we were going to be okay. And about a month before I opened, my mentor at the time asked me, he said, hey, have you talked to your wife about this? And I go, ooh, I really haven't had that conversation with her. So we're eating dinner, and I asked her, I said, hey, Megan, we really haven't talked about this before. I said, but how do you feel about me going into the insurance business and really not having knowing what my income's going to be? She goes, you're fine. If you fail, you'll figure something else out. You're young. So that was some good strength. She was good with it. My father-in-law, he sat, and we were sitting outside the house one day, and he said, Landon, do you know the meaning of stress? I said, what do you mean, Ken? He goes, you've got a new baby. My second child was born October 10th. He's got a new house, and you're starting a new job. And I said, you know what? I liked, different things, was different stress, and it was just different for me. It was a different level of stress. I didn't have that corporate forbearance always on me, and it felt great. And a year later, we were going to a Jacksonville Jaguars game, and he said, you know what, Landon, I'm convinced you can do anything you want to do. So that was really, really good feeling that, I'm at a point where I feel like I'm in a good spot and really starting to get the ball rolling in the right direction.
Well, there's something that really moves you when you have to do it, right? Like at
Yes.
PepsiCo, you could sit back and you'd still get the check. And here it's like, okay, well, you have the new baby, you have this, all these things happening, but you have to, like, there's no other option.
Absolutely. I mean, I was working 60, 70 hours a week there, on call 24 hours a day, because that was the type of manager I was. I had a management team that worked for me, but I ran the location and I wanted to be involved in everything. And I kind of took this as, hey, this is going to be a lot better work-life balance. That's kind of been the keyword for the last, 3 or 4 years. Everybody wants a work-life balance. But then you kind of find out that, well, it's 8 o'clock at night, all the kids are in bed. Had a conversation with my wife at dinner. Well, now it's time to do some more work because you got to try to get caught up. There's so many things to do, and listening to calls and getting your coaching notes together for the next day. And it is. I mean, you've got to do it. And I'm not at the point now where I'm ready to coast. I've got to keep going.
Well, the beauty is that applying that same work ethic that you had over with the corporation, now you're here and you're actually putting that sweat equity into your own business and you're building something. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best thing about it, is having the equity in what I'm creating. So everything I'm putting into this, I know that it's building equity, and I will have a great opportunity. And, I feel that, my former corporate life really helped me prepare for that.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, putting that money into building the business or money and the equity is really what it's all about, because you get that return. I mean, Jason talks about all the time, people taking money out and then investing in the stock market or whatnot. It's like, why invest in another company when you can put that right back into your own business and then grow? Like, you have control over that growth, which I love. I love that part of the equation.
And that's one of the biggest things is, we do have control over what we do. We might not be able to control the big picture of what, the company that we work for and stuff like that, but we still have a level of control. You still have the option to come to work or not. You still have the option to staff. You still have the option to coach. And I mean, if you just give up, then it's over.
Yeah.
And being at that training that you guys held back in February, I left going, I'm pumped, I'm ready to go. April 1st, I really went full bore. I hired 3 new LSPs, went full steam ahead on using Ricochet, and it's really starting to work and pay off. And my one LSP that I had before, she's like, this is so much better than anything else we've ever used. But it's just continual. I mean, you can't stop. Right. And I had the thought in my head the other day. I'm like, I gotta back off. Like, this isn't the right path. I gotta back off a little bit. And then I go, Craig, in my head, I was about to pull the plug, and then I did. So I just unpaused and I'm going. So.
See, I think that's what's so powerful about this community, is that if you could see somebody else doing it with all the things that you put together, right? You put all the pieces together. If you can see somebody else, then okay, it can be done. And like your uncle, your father-in-law or told you, right? Like, if you can do anything you set your mind to, right? Anybody can. There's no one's stopping anybody from doing it. And here it is. Like, here's the boom, 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 do these things. And it may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen in a week, but it will happen. And that's where I had a lot of comfort in that when setting it up with Jason. With Jason was the only one to lean on at that time, was community of 2, but knowing like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. That's what I kept telling myself. And I trust him. I know he can do it. I know he does it. Now I see that, then I just have to figure it out until it happens. And I'm so stubborn that I just won't give up. I'll keep doing it until it works. And it did. And that, I think that gives a lot of comfort in, okay, I'm going to hire more people. Like, you went back fired up and you're like, well, I'm going to hire people. Before that, you're like, oh, I can't afford it. Right. But you're like, no, I can't afford to not hire more people, because what's the alternative? Right. The alternative is die. I mean, that's
right.
That's it. You need people. You need to train people right. You need to do all of these things.
Yeah, I came back pumped up. I sat down with my business coach, and hopefully, someone has a business coach or something like that on top of this. And we sat down and said, hey, this is what I want to do. And he said, all right, well, let's look at it. Let's see what it's going to do to your financials. Let's see when the return is going to be. And it's possible, if you put the plan in place and the biggest thing is the plan, right? Stick to the plan, do what you need to do. This group has been humongous. You know, if you don't have a solid group of people around you that's helping you, motivating you, whether it's in this group or other professions. I've got a group of business professionals that we sit down and we talk about our business and how, you know, different ideas, and just continuing to grow is just how we're trying to help each other, because if one's growing, we're all growing.
Right.
Yeah, I love that element too, because so many times you get lost in the weeds, especially in insurance. You get in the weeds, you start getting phone calls and, you know, people asking questions and helping people with things, you know, in the office as well as clients and stuff like that. And you're just on this hamster wheel, and it's really nice to talk to other people that are doing the same thing. And it makes you pull yourself out of the weeds, rise above, and really think about it all, because that's where the growth happens, right? Is when you go, oh, okay, so it's almost like you can visualize what you're doing outside of it and go, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like this makes sense. That doesn't make sense. Let's pull that out, because, you know, the big picture is I want to get down there. And right now I'm only doing, you know, 10% of what's going to get me there. So let's cut out that other stuff so we can get there faster.
It's a live process. I mean, it's growing every day. I mean, we have these daily calls where we'll just go, all right, someone's having an issue, share your screen, let's look at it. And we'll just pull it up and we'll go, hey, if you change this, this, and this, you might get better results.
Right.
I had a call with someone and they told me to make some changes, and 2 days later, I was like, man, why is my contact rate down? And I was like, those changes they made. And I went back in and I changed it back and it fixed it. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny how doing little things and tweaking things here and there and really can make it. I mean, make the difference, and having a group of people you can lean on is just
that's a really valuable point. There is consistent tweaking, right? There is no there. We're never going to be where it's perfect and it's just smooth sailing. That's not going to happen. But constantly testing other things. So, maybe I'm going to tweak this one thing, but also being mindful of don't tweak too many variables all at once, because then you can't investigate and figure out what it was that is impacting. Right. So you don't change all the lead companies, change your dialing cadences, you don't do all of that all at once. Otherwise, then you have nothing to lean on. So I love that. And so powerful.
You can almost use the wisdom. Like you really see the wisdom when that happens. Like you can use everybody else's wisdom, and you can really, you know, take those bits and pieces instead of just like you never want to just, to Craig's point, change everything and just fly by the seat of your pants and constantly change stuff. You want to, okay, let's keep 85% the same, but let's use 15% of our resources for R&D, let's say, you know what I mean? Or, you know, when you're buying leads, you always need to have that one solid frame of reference, at least one, right? At least one frame of reference that you can compare your new vendors to your old vendors or something like that, and be able to pull those things. But it's really but when you have a group of people, you can use the wisdom from each one of those that'll see little bits and pieces of everything that you're doing, and be able to almost like leapfrog, you know, through a bunch of challenges and not have to go through them by using other people.
Yeah, and then just having a daily pulse, you know, you've got to have the pulse of the organization, understanding what you're doing and those little changes. Because if I had made those changes and a week later I looked at it, I would have never remembered that's what I did a week later. And so looking at it and then going, all right, this is 2 days in a row, something's up. And then just realizing what you did. And it's right, you can't just change everything and, you know, list you upload, making sure you're scrubbing it and doing the right thing. And because you can make a lot of people mad very quickly if you don't have the right information in the system.
So could you no, go ahead, dude.
How did you find a coach? Like what got you started with having a coach and finding groups of people? Like what started the process of even seeing value in that and then implement?
So I'm in a networking group. It's Business Networking International, BNI. So we'll give them a quick plug. And I've got a really great group. We started April of 2019 as a core group, and we kind of grew, and we got a business coach that joined June of last year. And I'm like, oh, I don't need a business coach. And once I sat down with him and he started asking me questions, I'm like, I need a business coach. I'd never thought about these things. It's funny because I had looked at purchasing a unit a couple doors down, and I told him, hey man, I got my offer got accepted, I'm buying this unit. And he goes, why are you buying this unit? And I told him, he's like, we need to look at your numbers and make sure this is actually the right thing. He's like, you're investing this much more money for the next 6 months on additional heads. You're going to get your return when the renewals come in. Let's really look at where you're at, and if make sure you're above water where you need to be. And I was just like, wow, this is why I have a business coach. So we meet every other week, kind of do the state of the business, and we talk about wins, we talk about staffing, we talk about processes, and he's been instrumental in helping me put processes together. Now my staff knows if they need to know how to do something, there's a file they go to and they watch a video of me doing it, during the video. And so they know exactly how to do it. And it frees up me from them asking me the same question, or 5 different people asking me the same question within the week. I just say, go to the training folder. If it's not there, let me know, and I'll create a video showing you how to do it.
Money. Love it.
Those things are huge. And, I could, if it's all right, I'll give him a quick plug. But it's mybusinessonpurpose.com, and they have a quiz to find out if you're a healthy business owner.
Cool.
And it's a great little process. You take the quiz and it gives you a score. And I just did it myself just to kind of go through the quiz. And I'm like, I still have some things to work on with him. So, but it's like, do you have a mission statement? Do you have a vision? Where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years, or whatever that goal might be? And then we do 12-week goals. Every 12 weeks we set a goal. All right, where are we going to be? Where do you want your team to be? Are you going to include culture in here? And it's just really important to keep that focus, and he really helps keep things focused.
I love that, because that 40,000 foot view is a lot of times something that we don't go to, because we can get trapped down in the weeds dealing with all of the crap that happens at the agency constantly, and not look at that strategic level where you're making decisions that are actually going to impact the business long term. And I mean, if you're not there, then that's okay, but it's important to be aware of that, because there were points early in my insurance career where that wasn't even something that was even on the radar. I didn't have a mission statement, culture, we just got to write business. And that's all you hear from the carriers, right? They'll tell you just need to write business and write business. But there's a lot more to it strategically for the business health, right? You have to have a healthy business. You have to have a culture. You have to have all of these things that are going to help move this thing. Otherwise, it is the hamster wheel. And then you can't go to Cabo.
Right. Yeah, it's important. I mean, daily meetings, I do every other week. I do a meeting with one of my staff members, and I bring back lunch for everyone. And it's important to ask them the questions. Hey, what are you seeing? What do you need? What's your opinion on how things are going? And just to get their input in the system, because I have an open door policy. And I want everyone to tell me if they have something going on. But there's times that, my lead will come to me and she says, hey, so-and-so wanted to say this, but they didn't want to tell you, so I'm telling you. And I'll go, hey, this is great. Thanks for the feedback. Let's do this. And a lot of it was when we were switching between 15 different screens, and now it's so much simpler, working the leads and putting them in, and, putting all your notes in. And then there's the follow-up. You got to make sure they're doing what they said you're going to do, so your reporting is right.
Yeah. Well, your number one client is your team, right? That if you don't take care of the team, and that doesn't mean you sitting there, and it doesn't mean that you have to be in front of them all day long, but checking in with them, running the meeting, or, at least being at some of the meetings each week. If you grow, and then you can have the sales manager. Like now I come in once or twice a week for the meeting, but my sales manager runs it now. And that's what that was my long-term goal, was to be able to pull back, have less day-to-day operation, and more and more strategic level, with the business, because then we can make long-term growth goals, right? It's not just, okay, well, what do we need to do for the week, or what do we need to do for this month? That's the sales manager's job now, right? And I think that it's beautiful to see that the organization grow like that.
Yeah, and that's ultimately the goal, is to have that to where you can kind of focus on your own referral partners, really getting out into the market and getting your name out there instead of just grinding behind a desk. And that's the biggest thing is we all know a referral closes a heck of a lot easier than a $5 lead.
Sure.
Right. I want to know, what did Landon on day one, what did Landon of now learn throughout that process of opening yourself, not really knowing much, day one, writing yourself a policy, and then now you're running teams, buying leads, you have a bunch of processes. So what were some of the big aha moments throughout that entire time?
I think I'm still having those aha moments. I'll tell you the biggest thing for me last year, our sales in June and July of April, May, June, July were off the charts last year. Everyone was shopping pre-pandemic. We had the best rates. I was spending probably $500 a month in leads and generating $50,000 to $60,000 off of it. And I was chatting with someone was like, hey, who do you use for a lead vendor? And I told them my lead vendor, and I've written this much off of him this year. And they go, and you only bought this? Why didn't you buy more? And I felt like a damn idiot. I went, why didn't I buy more?
Right.
It was working at my spend. If I would have known what I know now, I would have spent $5,000 a month and turned it into 500,000 or whatever it would have been. But I'm just like, that was an aha moment. I'm like, I did not see that because of what I know now. Now what I see, and those might have taken 30, 60, 90 days to close, but I mean, we were writing a tremendous amount of business. I mean, I went from writing 40 or 50,000 a month going, hey, this is a great month, to 110, 115 going, oh, this is incredible. We've never had to remit every single day. And it was great. And then really things started going bad. September, August. I mean, I think December last year, or November, December, we wrote like 6,000. I mean, it was horrible. We netted 6,000. I was like, this is not going to work. And then I really started diving into this program. And then, I was like, all right, I need training, and we haven't been able to do anything for a year. And then I was fortunate enough to find out about you guys holding that training. I was like, am I allowed to come? Is this okay? Can I do this? And Wyatt's like, yeah, come on, man, let's do it. I'm like, Arizona, sure, why not?
He said it exactly like that too.
Yeah. I was like, okay, no problem. I was like, is George going to be there? Yep. All right, I'm in. So I loved it. And, it was the first time I felt like I'm the inaugural member. And I'm like, this is incredible. And to find out that everyone's having the same things. I mean, Josh came and he wasn't even on the program. And I'm like, man, he saw
snuck in
the ability. And I'm just like, wow, this is great. And I was so dedicated to it. And I went from having meetings maybe once every 2 months to a meeting a week to a meeting a day. And we hold those meetings and we talk about the prior days. I go, hey, you had 200 phone calls yesterday, but you only quoted 2 people. What happened? What was some of those calls like? And I have them go back and review their calls and grade them and say, hey, let's review some of these together and understand what's going on. And
yes.
It works. You might not convert every single one of them, but there's some of those times, hey, if I don't get paid till Friday, no problem. Just give me your credit card and I'll lock in your price and I'll go ahead and start this for you. I'll go ahead and get this started for you on Friday. It works.
Quick bind.
So yeah.
I want to go back to meetings in a second, but first I want to touch on something that you brought up, which was the troubling times. So December, 6,000, like where, and I want to do this because there could be somebody listening right now or watching on the YouTubes where they're struggling. They think it's the end of the world and whatnot. How did you get through that time? And what was your mindset during that time? And how'd you pull yourself out of it?
So, we're all in sales, right? So, hey, this is a great month. Oh, it's the first of the next month. It's over.
Right.
And it's scary, and you have to have faith in your process and faith in the system. And it was me at that time, one LSP and my service lead, or my only service person. So there's three of us. So my payroll wasn't that big. But I made the determination January 1 or in February to go ahead and just start with the system. But I just knew that the ebbs and flows. I mean, it's going to increase, it's going to go down, it's going to increase, it's going to go down. I went from writing, I think I ended up getting new business credit for like 12 standard line autos in December, and then January was 17, February was 17, March was 24, then it was 31, then it was 34, and I think this month we're on track to get 40 or so. And I'm like, it's working. We're getting a lot better business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just working that process and just the faith in it. I mean, it's going to go through. We all know that December is always going to be a tough month with the holidays and everything going on there in the first week of January. And it's just trying to make sure you're doing the right thing, and a lot of faith.
Interestingly, I've had some of my best months in December because I convinced the team that it's one of the best months. And so remember, another thing, doing meetings every day, I think it has a lot of impact from how you help shape and shift their mindset. So, they may come in with that December's a tough month. Everybody wants to wait till after the holidays. Okay. Well, that's what everybody says. So great news. We have the easiest objection to overcome, because that's what everybody's going to say. Right. And this is our biggest month. And so the more you help your team with the daily meetings and going through and shifting their mindset, the more they believe, right? You got to turn them into those believers. And that's been huge. I mean, I know Jason will not change the leads and tell the team that he totally revamped the leads, and the leads are coming in hot and they're really good. And all of a sudden they have a huge day. Right. So it's a lot of,
I can't do that
so
anymore,
much,
though.
there's so much they know that now they figured him out, but there's so much psychology behind sales that, and I think that salespeople are naturally somewhat more emotional, which is why they can key and tune in with people. So we have to manage their emotions and help push that optimism that comes out. When they get down in the dumps, it can be tough, but we gotta set that mindset for them. Love it.
Yeah.
I would like
the
to
good
say,
thing. Good.
I was going to say, I'd like to say that it's all psychological.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just need to ask the questions, right? But like to actually ask all the questions that you need to on every conversation, it's all psychological. Like, no one just actually asks all the stuff that they need to. Nobody. And why don't they? Because there's so many emotions that play out throughout the entire phone call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all psychological, and you're doing so many in the day that anything can derail you, And so it's really just keeping it up. And I think us as coaches, I mean, that's our number one job, is just to keep everybody rocking.
Yeah. One of my producers, if she has a bad call where the person, gets pissed and yells at her or whatever, that's it. She's sideways the rest of the day. And we're working through that, but it's so funny that if that happened, you're like, what happened? Like, what's with her activity? Oh, somebody yelled at her. So that's like,
yeah,
but we have to help manage that. Right. That's, I think, our most important role is helping to manage their emotions, because we can't do it. I mean, we can't sit here and write business all day. Otherwise there's no scalability to that.
Right.
Yeah. And I've got two new to insurance producers.
Love it.
One,
they're the best.
One started April, one started May, and they're doing great. I mean, they don't know what they don't know, right? So they don't have to worry about December being a historically bad month. I mean, they're just going out and doing it. I mean, one of them wrote 7,000 in a week, and I was just like, or actually both of them wrote 7,000 in a week, and I was just like, this is incredible. And they were pumped, and they're like, man, this is great. And they're getting the one call closes, and it works, and that really fires them up. But you just got to spend the time with them, and One came from a customer service side. He worked at a big grocery store chain that they focus on customer service, but he scored well on the assessment I had him do, the character personality trait assessment I had him do. He was what I was looking for. And
Nice.
the other person I have working for me, that she did timeshare sales. And so she came into the interview. I'm like, how do you do this? And she said, well, first you have to get him in a yes state of mind. And I went, hired. And she wasn't in timeshare sales for very long. But she knew the system. And so she just has to get trained up on knowing what endorsements are and this and that. But they're both going to be superstars before long.
She can handle hearing the no and persevere, right? I mean,
right.
If you can sell timeshares, then you can pretty much, and you don't quit after the first day, then you've got some kind of determination for sales. Like, you want to make it happen, and you can't teach determination and hustle. And so I love that. My two new ones that I was joking around that I call them boy and girl, but they're I'll give them a shout. Jared and Maricela, like they didn't come from any insurance experience, and they're both going to hit 30K this month. And, part of it is giving them all of the at bats, but then them not knowing what they don't know. Like they don't know that writing 30K is hard. They just are hustling, and it's happening. And they're running circles around some of my producers that have been here a long time. And so, but then that what happens with that, then everybody's got, every salesperson has a little chip on their shoulder. So like, well, the new people are kicking butt. So now I better kick butt. And it just elevates the energy of the whole room.
Absolutely.
So,
and our dials, if we did 200 outbound dials a week, we were doing good. And now we're, my staff alone is doing, at least 400 a day. My newest producer, she does probably averages 200 a day. And I started realizing how many dials she was doing. I was like, well, you're getting people on the phone. Why aren't they converting to quotes? And she had an issue overcoming that initial objection. So we did role plays. All right, let's do role plays. Everyone's going to do a role play on the opening objection. And we went through it. She's like, well, what if they say they didn't ask for a quote, or what if they didn't do this?
Great. Do you still live at 5555?
Yeah. And I was just like, don't be the one that hangs up.
Yep.
People naturally they don't want to hang up, right? We've all gotten those return phone calls. Why'd you hang up on me, from a friend or your mom or whoever it might have been? Nobody wants to hang up.
You hang up on your mom?
Hopefully not. I don't, but okay, maybe a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever it may be, but it's natural. So it's natural not to really hang up on somebody.
Yeah.
Or at least I feel that way. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being in the southern area of the U.S. I know New Jersey. I hear the stories about the New England area, New Jersey, and stuff like that. They're like, we can't get anybody on the phone. They only do is cuss us out. So, but it's just working those objections and saying, all right, what's the biggest thing you struggle with? And it's just like, I can talk, I can say hi, and then they're just like, no, thank you, and I hang up. And I'm like, you got to go more than that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm at work right now. Hey, no problem. This won't take very long at all. We got our new quick quoter. Let me just verify a few things to you. And before you know it, you've gotten all the information.
Right.
You're presenting everything to them.
It
Because
is,
if they answer the phone, they have time to talk.
Right.
That's
how
I believe it. They answer the phone. They have time to talk. And that's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. Like,
if you're listening and you don't train on that part of the call, there's no more important part of the call, because you're not going to get to the rest of the call if you don't get past that part. And that's all muscle memory, and you have to be automatic. It has to be automatic, right? They're gonna say, I already got insurance. I'm not interested. 5 other people called me. I already got a quote. I already bought it, whatever, right? They're going to have something, and you got to be ready to come right back.
Yeah. We had one that's like, he said, oh, I just switched insurance yesterday. And, oh, no problem. We'll get you quoted. And sure enough, we're like $200 cheaper. We overcame that objection today, and $200 cheaper than what he's paying now.
Yeah.
So, and then that's why you get past that objection.
Yep. And 90% of the other people that are calling are going to say, oh, okay, I'll call you in 6 months. I mean, that you might as well just throw the $5 in the toilet. instead.
Yeah, I mean,
Be
we
more
we have a
fun.
list of carriers. We know which ones we can compete against and which ones we can't. And man, when we get one of the ones that we know we're going to blow out of the water, I'm like, you do whatever you can, objection wise, to overcome those objections, because there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to close this.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Well, should we open up the mics?
Yes, but one final question. What
Oh,
number
yes.
one piece of advice would you give any agent coming into the industry or somebody who's revamping their business and wants to, and was landing in November, December, and wants to kickstart it?
So I would definitely reach out to someone that's been in the process. I had an hour call with somebody on Saturday. They just reached out to me, emailed me, and I said, yeah, no problem. I'll tell you what I wish I would have done when I first started in October. And that's it. I mean, I would just reach out, and I mean, I know there's a lot of different processes. I was scared with pricing and this and that, but I mean, the telemarketers, if you consider them an extension of your employees, I mean, it's perfect. We have calls with them. We coach them up. We do different things. We do incentives for them, just like I do my normal staff. So, it's reach out to somebody that's in the program now and ask them, hey, what would you have done differently, if you started this all over again? And that's what I would do. So, I mean, we've got a wealth of knowledge in this group. I like to surround myself with people that are much smarter than me, like, both you and Josh and George and
that's why we started
smoke and mirrors, my friend.
That's why we started it, because we needed smart people around us.
But if you're not surrounding yourself by people that are smarter than you, you're always gonna be the smartest person in the room and you're not gonna grow. And I think it's important, whether or not they're actually smarter than you or whatnot, if they have ideas that I go, hey, that's a great idea, it's going to help you in the long run.
Need perspective.
Yes, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's open it up. Q&A with
and
Landon Papay.
Oh,
like that?
Yeah, man.
Trademark is copyright. I don't know.
It's like quick quote. Trademark, copyright.
Clutter. See, I'm not the smartest one in the group, so that's why nobody's asking me questions. It's all good.
Any questions? Okay, I have one.
Do you have a question, Jason?
Yeah, real quick.
Jason, back in the back.
yeah. Landon, if you did it all over again, what would you do differentently?
I would have started with Rico. I got this phone call from the hype guy that says, hey man, you're going to be the first person ever to go on Phone Burner. It's going to be incredible. This is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to do.
Is that Brandon?
It was. And Phone Burner was like, oh my God, we're dialing 800 dials a day. This is mind blowing. I had an amazing TM. Unfortunately, she, went on to greener pastures. But once I kept hearing George talk about Rico and different things like that, and my staff, when we finally pulled the trigger, and my one LSP at the time and my service girl that was doing transfers as well, when they went on Rico and they're like, oh my God, Landon, this is so much better, because you're seeing the leads in real time come over. You're not having to go, all right, our TM is Skyping all the information, and then we're going over here and trying to pull them up real quick. They're not pulling up. Where are they at? And then you typed it wrong. And now it's just all comes over together. It's such a seamless transition. We click answer, we wait for our queue. Hey there, how you doing? And then you go right into it. And you're not having to go, our biggest mistake when we first started taking transfers, hey, this is Landon. How can I help you today? No, don't. I know. And it was, I caught my staff doing that. I'm like, no, it's not. How can I help you today? This is not a service call. This is a transfer. And they're going to go, well, what? You don't know what's going on. You don't even know why I'm calling today, or why I'm being transferred. And it's making your team prepared to do those transfers. And whether it's just role playing, the initial transfer piece is probably pretty good too. But I mean, you're getting somebody on the line that people are paying. At one point in time, I know they were paying over $100 for live transfers, and it's just one of those things. I know towards the end of the year they get a little bit more expensive, but just understanding that piece of it.
Love it.
Well, hey, I don't have a question, but can I just say something real quick?
You sure can.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, this is Josh Fanco.
Landon and I got to know each other back in February at your agency, and we've stayed in touch, and we've been a great resource for one another. We talked about community last week, and he talked about, reaching out to other people this week, and he just reinforced that. But one of the things I've noticed about Landon and just the time that I've known him is in my conversations with him sorry, there's somebody in the background, is his just ability to go in stride with whatever's happening. He's been one of those guys that not everything's worked out perfectly, but he is always, I don't know, you just seem, I don't know where you get that from, Landon, but you had just seemed like you just let it slide right off your back. You take challenges on like, hey, it's just as good as anything else going on. And I think your steadiness seems to be one of your strengths. Is that something that you've learned over time? I guess I do have a question. Is that something you've learned over time just through experience, or is that just part of your Southern charm, or what is it?
So I will tell you. So if you guys aren't getting massages or some kind of like self-treatment, do it. Right. So we had someone that would come to our house and give us massages. And when I left Pepsi and went to Allstate, all the stress in my shoulders was gone, and she's just like, wow, what's different? I was like, it's gotta be lost the job. And it's just whatever. I have conversations with current agents that are the same affiliation, and they're talking about how bad it is. And I go, hey, this is great compared to what I came from. And it's understanding that there's always going to be a better way to do things, or there's always going to be a new way to do things, just overcoming what you can control. And we all hear it, right? Control what you can control. And you guys, there's the bubble of, things you can control, things you can't control. And then you carve out the stuff in the middle. And it's understanding that there's going to be a better way. And then yesterday I was so upset. I was going to have a mental break. I was dealing with something, and all I wanted to do was the underwriter to call me instead of emailing back and forth, because I can't call them. Just call me so we can explain it, instead of me emailing you back because you don't understand what I'm saying and then waiting a day. And then I ended up calling someone. They're like, yeah, hey, we can help you. And I'm like, really? You could actually take this risk? I was like, you just like made my day. This company has never said, that they could take a risk for me. And I came in this morning, I was talking to my lead LSP, and I said, could you tell I was stressed yesterday? Because I was beyond, I was going to blow up. She said, no, I couldn't tell. And so I was very happy that didn't portray when I was in the office yesterday. But it's just understanding that you've got to overcome everything that comes at you. And you can't let the bad days, because we might have a bad day today, but we might do 10,000 tomorrow. And it's all in it. It's a process that you've got to work, and you got to fill that funnel.
Yeah.
Love it.
Manage the emotions, right? Whether it's meditating or working out or all of the above, getting a massage, whatever it takes to get your head right.
I'm still trying to find a deprivation tank. What is that? What it's called? Sound deprivation.
Oh, I just did that.
One of your guests had talked about it. The nearest one is 2 hours away from here. And I'm like, yeah.
Open one next door.
I thought about just buying one. So my wife's out of town this week. I should have just bought one and had it show up in the front room. Like, what is this?
Last time I was with Jason, I went to one out in Huntington Beach, or it might've been in Newport, but somewhere right around Jason's place. And it is awesome. Like I fell asleep. I woke myself up snoring in this like little dark room, but you float. They put so much salt in there that you're like bobbing on top of the water.
Who's the old guy snoring in the back?
Yeah.
That's Craig.
The only other person at the place was my wife. So she's used to it.
So, all right. So when we do Agencies Ignite 2.0,
yes, let's go there.
We need to have a road trip and do the deprivation.
It'll be nearby. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm down for it. I don't know how much time I need, but I know that the one guest was talking about
in there like 45 minutes or an hour.
He reserves 2-hour blocks, and he would bring a notepad. He'd bring a notepad and I was like, man, that's smart. And
Preston. Yeah, and he takes some liberties beforehand too.
So, that's right. Yeah. So it's just I need that quiet time to just go out. My business coach had challenged me one day. I was listening to one of his podcasts, and it was take 3 minutes and do absolutely nothing. I
Right.
set my
That's
alarm.
meditating.
I set my alarm for 3 minutes, and I just tried to clear my mind. I thought my clock broke. I literally thought my iPhone had like the timer had broken, wasn't working anymore. Cause like, surely it's been like 15 minutes. But it wasn't. It was 3 minutes, and it was one of the hardest things I'd ever done was to stop, because once your mind stops racing, it just.
Isn't it remarkable how long 3 minutes is when you're not thinking about anything? It's amazing.
Yes, it really is.
Floyd, you
Yeah.
look like you just came off the golf course. Come on. You got a question for Landon?
I'm actually being entertained and learning and listening.
Awesome.
Love
Well,
it.
cool.
Cool. Well, we can end it there. Well, one thing I would say that going back to the whole meditation part, I love what I think what is it? The priming the day, the thing that Tony Robbins says, where he puts himself, he does breathing, then he does 3 things that he's grateful for, and he like visualizes them, and he steps into those situations and almost like feels like he's there. And then 3 moments like he was grateful for, and he does like this whole routine and just resets him. Doesn't matter what happened before that, doesn't matter how pissed he is about everything else, but he does this sequence of stuff where he essentially meditates and resets it. It's
Love
crazy to think that our mind and our emotions can be controlled. We all
I
think
he
that,
manifests too. Jay, I
What's
think
that?
that's what the third thing. I think it's the manifesting.
yes, manifest it. Yeah.
Manifesting picture what you want out of the day.
Yeah. The
your goal.
outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, and I mean, I've talked about it before, but they've done the study where they have the basketball players. They have 3 different groups. One that doesn't practice free throws at all. One that just mentally envisions doing free throws, and then one that practices free throws. And the one that mentally envisions free throws performs as well as the one that's, something like that. It's something along those lines, but it shows the power of the, manifesting that, which is
Love it.
amazing.
Which one
Yeah.
did Shaq do?
Shaq did none of them. He was eating Taco Bell. He had taco neck. Remember? Taco neck.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's the muscle memory is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
once you start doing the role plays and really understanding where your weaknesses are, because I have a seasoned person, and once I realized that she wasn't able to overcome objections, I gave her one, and she was just like, I was like, all right, well, no, just email me the quote. Okay, no problem. Or I'm at work. Okay, no problem. And then she just would
People
end the
pleaser.
call. And I was like, and then we did it in front of everyone, and it was not meant to call her out. She realized right then and there, she's like, hey, I do need some help with role plays. And so once you just start working on them, you find out what your weakness is, what your strength is, and you build off of those.
Now we're in bonus time, but that made me think of something that it just hit here. And there's this whole thing about the ego, right? The ego comes into play a lot of times, and then you have that emotional response, but with coaching. So I think that it's really important to distinguish where you're doing a review, employee review, where you tiptoe and you say, the nice things and all this, and this is how you could improve, versus the coaching environment. And I think that you need to set that up too, so that you get the best response from it, because what happens is people get on the defensive when they receive feedback, right? Like, so you called her out in front of everybody, but it seems like it didn't go poorly. What I've had with a couple of people is I call them out, but they weren't prepared for it. And then, it goes sideways and, not great.
Oh, it wasn't.
And I
I didn't have to call her out. She realized.
See, so that's good. She has good control over ego, right? But sometimes people will say, well, or I even brought it up with somebody I just promoted to sales manager, where she said, well, if this happens, then this is how I'm going to respond. And I go, well, it sounds like that's an emotional response. Do you think that that's the best way? Or maybe this person is just trying to coach you, and you could possibly get something good out of it. What do you think? And she goes, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Right. And so you have to set that mindset where, hey, look, you may not be comfortable with what's being told to you in a coaching environment, but listen to it, listen and absorb that and think about it. Don't tell me how to do it. Right. Like where they get defensive And so if you set it up like, hey, look, it's not always going to be comfortable when we're coaching. I'm going to freaking talk from my heart. I'm going to be raw, right? When I'm coaching. And, so expect that. And if you, I think, manage those expectations, it can,
and
can
then
help.
you give them the poop sandwich.
Then you give
Yes.
them the
Explain the
sandwich.
poop sandwich.
That's where, the poop sandwich is more when you're doing an evaluation, right? Hey, you're really good at, so the sandwich is the bread is the hey, you're really good at this and this and this. These are the things that we need to look at to fix. And then you finish it with another.
You're doing a
added
great
or added
job.
play. Right, you're doing a great job. That's the poop sandwich.
Poop sandwich is always good though. I
That's
would
a
say poop
corporate-
sandwich is good in coaching.
I just go straight
Well,
to the poop.
And you got to remember, it takes courage to be a good coach, because
Yeah.
everyone wants to be nice, and we have to realize that we can't provide for our employees. They need to provide for themselves.
Right.
And everyone wants to, it's not my job to make sure that they have enough money to survive. It's their job to be able to overcome and be successful in what they do. Because at the end of the day, if it might not be the right role for them.
Right.
And
Right.
You can't want it for them more than they want it. And I've had
Right.
that so many times where I just wanted this person to be great and they weren't ever going to be an eagle because they're a duck.
Right.
And it's the way it is. Quack, quack, quack.
Well, we got to provide the tools. As long as we
Yeah.
know that we've provided all the right tools, then yeah. A lot of times
And
we don't.
set the
though.
expectation, right? Clearly
That's what-
communicate, set the expectation, and then hold them accountable to the expectations.
Yep.
that's why it's important to do those, to do those one-offs with them. Hey, is there anything else I can help you with?
Yeah.
Yep.
So as we wrap, I do want to say one thing. If you're still on here and you listen to that bonus footage, please click the subscribe button.
Please
Take out a hammer, put your phone there, and pound that subscribe button. Well, don't
Smash
do that.
it?
Just touch it real nicely. Just touch
Landon,
subscribe.
thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate
Mhm.
everybody in this group.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Always incredible. So thank you so much, buddy.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you guys for putting that information out there, because I mean it helps a ton of people. I look forward to every new release, new podcast that you guys put out. So
Well, and you
Nice.
probably get it delivered to your little inbox because you hit the subscribe button.
I do. I get an alert on my phone. There is a new episode for Teledudes, and I go,
Yeah.
woohoo!
And if you want to earn yourself a t-shirt, I bet you could go and leave a review and maybe a t-shirt would show up.
That's right.
Very good.
Yeah, you never
Love
know.
it.
All right,
guys.
Well, that is not a coffee talk. That's just a episode. Thanks.
Thanks.